I'm going to kick off the show talking about Gayle King.
Okay.
Now, this week, I've been talking about it, but not really talking about it.
Right.
So Gayle King interviewed Lisa Leslie, and I think the pretext was they were going to talk about Kobe Bryant's legacy. And do we have the original audio from Gayle King talking to Lisa Leslie? So this is a portion that Gayle King says CBS targeted, that they took it out of context and they put it up on their website and they pushed it out to the public.
Right.
She's saying that this was a long interview.
Unbeknownst to her.
Unbeknownst to her,
is what she
they
says.
pulled this particular piece, this clip right here.
To promote the interview.
Play it.
It's been said that his legacy is complicated because of a sexual assault charge, which was dismissed in 2003, 2004. Is it complicated for you as a woman, as a WNBA player?
It's not complicated for me at all. Even if there's a few times that we've been at a club at the same time. Kobe's not the kind of guy, never been like, Lisa, go get that girl or tell her or send her this. I have other NBA friends that are like that. Kobe's, he was never like that. I just never have ever seen him being the kind of person that would do something to violate a woman or be aggressive in that way. That's just not the person that I know.
But Lisa, you wouldn't see it though. As his friend, you wouldn't see it.
And that's possible. I just don't believe that. And I'm not saying things didn't happen. I just don't believe that things didn't happen with force.
Okay. Couple of things.
So much to unpack.
It is. And you're my unpacker.
Yeah.
I should call you 1-800-JUNK. Got junk. All right, because you're going to unpack this and throw it in. All right.
So much.
I'm going to tell you where I think this portion of the interview, which, again, Gayle King says that CBS did this unbeknownst to her. She was angry about it, and she's going to take them to task, she said in her Instagram Live. The one problem where she went left with it, because, again, journalistically, it's not a problem to ask a WNBA player about the sexual assault charges against Kobe.
A close friend.
But then she doubled down. But, Lisa, you wouldn't see it. So when Lisa said, this is not the man, I have friends who would say, go get this girl. He wasn't the one. But, Lisa, you wouldn't see it.
Can I do something? Because I want to do something.
Come on.
So, Smith, if you go 30 seconds in, maybe 30 seconds into that clip again, I want you to listen to something, because it's all about the sound. Okay.
Is it the
watch?
Okay.
Because I know you know what it is, but the interview would have been over right there at the Kobe. He didn't do that. But play it again, Smith, right there. Just right in.
30 seconds in?
Yeah, sure. That's good enough.
Have ever seen him being the kind of person that would do something to violate a woman or be aggressive in that way. That's just not the person that I know.
But Lisa, you wouldn't see it though. As his friend, you wouldn't see it.
And that's
stop right there. You see the wine? That's a messy wine.
What do you mean a messy wine?
You wouldn't see it though. Come on, Lisa.
Oh, right.
You wouldn't.
Right. I pointed that out.
I know you did. That's why I'm looking.
Yeah.
But hearing it and then seeing it, you're like, oh, you just being messy.
Right.
Because that's not you.
Because you know that he did
you
it.
Already,
what she's saying is, you know he did it, but you wouldn't see it.
You wouldn't
because
see it.
you wouldn't
Man,
see it. Right.
Come
that's
on,
where
Lisa.
she was. I think that was an overstep.
Yes.
And then at the end,
the third
problem.
Probe. Yeah.
Right. So after Lisa said what she said,
Again.
and then Lisa said, if you had questions, you could have been asking him for the last 15 years.
Yeah, right.
He won an Oscar last year.
Right.
Did it come up during his Oscar?
Absolutely
Did
not.
anybody ask him, well, so, Kobe, you did this. What about this back in when you were 25?
Right. And then, but here's the thing. In that same question, she answered her own question. In that third question, she said, do you think that it does, or should it be left alone?
Right.
You already
said
it. You know where you're going.
And Lisa was like, yes.
You're trying to lead her.
No, but then the last part, because when Lisa said it was already done.
Yeah.
And Gayle was like, yes, it was dismissed because the victim.
Right.
The victim.
You try to qualify it to still make your position.
Because can you be a victim if the case was dropped?
Oh, yeah. Good. Oh, I missed that. I missed that.
Because the victim refused to testify.
I missed that.
So she, to me, personally, two things. First of all, from a journalistic standpoint, Gayle King has the right to ask any question.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no question that's off the table. As a black woman in America, I think there's a different response. And I'm just talking about me right now.
Right.
I have been in many, many, many situations where I could have, even here, there are questions I could ask all the time of people who sit here. Sometimes I ask, and it depends on the relationship, but it also depends on the person.
I haven't even known you that long, and I've seen you do it.
Yes.
There's a level of journalistic restraint.
Because all things are permissible.
Right.
But all things are not beneficial. I just dropped the scripture on you.
You did.
So when I sit here, I say all things are permissible, but all things are not beneficial. So I ask myself, what's the value?
Right. How does it benefit her?
How does it benefit
or move the interview forward?
Right. And in this case, first of all, I feel like Lisa Leslie was ambushed. Having been recently ambushed myself on another show, it was interesting to watch how that plays out. People invite you for one reason and then they hit you with another, because I'm sure the Gayle didn't say, I'm going to ask you about Kobe.
Right.
She didn't give her any heads up.
And she handled it superbly.
Because Lisa Leslie, let me tell you, I've interviewed her. That woman is a pro.
Yeah.
She is a pro to the nth power. This Lisa Leslie is that person.
No stuttering and stammering. Just gathered her up.
But she wasn't ready for that question. She didn't know that was coming, but she was ready. She didn't know it was coming, which I also think is like sister to sister. You don't do that.
Yeah.
So I think there's a greater responsibility, and I know this sounds, for anybody listening, and you might think that blah, 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 but we got 400 years of history that tells me that I need to balance the scale.
Right.
And I do that. I need to balance the scale if I'm going to sit behind this microphone or if I'm going to be in a situation, and I'm not going to expose people, even if I can. Even when I interview Wendy Williams, you think I don't have a buttload of receipts? Not a butt. Maybe I shouldn't put butts out there. You think I don't have a whole lot of receipts? I've done 5 books with her. Spent a lot of time.
Right.
I could have hit her with a bunch of different questions, but what was the benefit, and why did I bring her? I didn't bring her there to destroy her.
Right. And also with Lisa Leslie, you know that's my friend.
Right.
So what answer do you think I was going to give
No,
you?
it wasn't about. It was about the viral moment of asking her, and then she can go back and say, I asked the question because I'm a journalist.
I'm a journalist, right. And I didn't know they were going to put that up. However, if you listen to the last part of the clip, she says she had control over what went in and what didn't. She says it. So I'm like, So her apology.
Right. When I first heard the clip, before I even saw any of the backlash, I was like, that's out of pocket.
Yeah.
And it was out of pocket for me because of the climate that we're in.
Right now.
Everything has to be seen holistically. In a vacuum, that's a great question.
Right.
Journalistically. The times that we're living in, Kobe, is his body even in the ground?
Right.
I mean, like, there's a time and a place for everything. It's not the time and the place. We got to get some distance between that. And then you put Lisa Leslie in a position to have to defend something that she shouldn't have to. So it's just wrong.
Right.
Then I heard the Snoop thing, because Snoop was the #1 trending topic.
So
that
before
night.
Snoop, the internet went nuts.
I didn't see any of that.
The internet, what they call so-called Black Twitter, went
Black Twitter,
nuts.
so-called Black Twitter. Who are these people?
Right, it includes
Am I part
everybody.
Of it? Are you part of it?
Somewhat, sometimes.
Okay,
I jump in sometimes.
Okay.
But the internet went nuts on Gayle and what you call dragged her and trashed her. And
was 50 Cent
canceled
one of
her.
the first in?
Quite a few. I saw 50 Cent. I saw some no-names, some randoms. Everybody jumping in.
So let me say that about that.
Ari Lennox.
Lil Boosie.
Oh, yeah.
Lil Boosie, whose child was in. Anyway, so here, could I say, not everybody has the same level of right to have an opinion about things. So all things are not equal.
Right.
Just like the talents that God gives out. Some will get 5, some will get 3, some will get 1. It's according to your capacity.
Just because you can don't mean that you do. Yeah.
That you should.
Yeah.
Some of y'all needed to be quiet because, quite frankly, you don't have the weight,
right,
the reputation, or any, the grounding to be able to,
or the following sometimes.
But it's not even about the following.
Yeah.
Like, who are you?
Yeah, true.
Have anything to say about anybody? Like, shut up.
No skin in the game.
Nothing.
So the internet went crazy, and then Snoop yesterday morning,
who actually has skin in the game.
Right, skin in the game.
He's an OG.
Yeah.
So I saw this. I'm not gonna play the whole clip. I'm gonna play it up to the point where I want to talk about it. Go ahead, play it.
Gayle King, out of pocket for that shit. Way out of pocket. What do you gain from that?
Stop.
Ooh,
Pause.
Nice.
Pause.
Nice.
He could have stopped right there. Mm-hmm. And that'd have been.
He could have left it at that. He could have left it at that.
It was perfect.
It was poignant. It was concise. It was a question, open-ended.
Boom.
These are the questions that need answers.
Okay. Go ahead. Go back.
Way out of pocket. What do you gain from that? I swear to God, we the worst. We the fucking worst. We expect more from you, Gayle. Don't you hang out with Oprah? Why y'all attacking us? We your people. You ain't coming after fucking Harvey Weinstein asking them dumb-ass questions. I get sick of y'all.
Emotion is coming.
I want to call you one.
Okay.
Is it okay if I call her one? Funky dog head bitch.
Stop, stop,
jeez.
stop right there. Now, full disclosure, when I got to the funky dog hair bitch, I chuckled. I
did too.
I chuckled. It was a little funny.
Yeah, it caught me off guard.
So was it a like, oh,
No, yeah, it was like,
yeah. Oh my
It was one of
God!
them.
I
Yeah,
can't believe he said that about
Yeah.
Gayle King. And then in the next moment, I was like, "That's damn disrespectful." The woman's in her 60s. You gotta respect your elders.
Yeah.
Snoop.
Well, that thought didn't necessarily come.
That's what happened to
My
me.
thought was like, this is not gonna be good.
That's what you knew immediately.
I knew it was gonna be
I thought he could
problematic.
have gotten away with funky dog hair, bitch. If he had just stopped there.
Dog head though.
Was it dog,
Dog
hair?
head is. I
was
think
it
it's
dog
head.
hair?
I think head is a
Hold
little more
on.
aggressive.
Was it hair or head?
Dog head.
Okay,
bitch.
let's hear it again.
Yeah, I think it's head.
Funky dog head bitch.
Oh,
Yeah.
a dog head.
Yeah, that's strong.
Okay, that's
That's
much
strong.
stronger than hair.
Yeah, and hair.
Because the hair, she wears a
Right.
wig. So I was like, okay, I can
Yeah.
roll with that. That's fairly accurate. And then
But
the
now,
bitch part was
so-
out of pocket.
Right. One is saying your hair's all over the place. The other one, now I'm comparing you to an animal, which we just had
We
this
just had this
issue.
thing,
You
right?
understand what I'm
So
saying?
that was
Yeah,
foul. Okay.
I was like, this is
I
going to be
thought it was
something.
hair. All
Nah.
right, thank you. Snoop, that was wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew it was going to be problematic for her.
But it got worse.
It
And we're
did
not going
get
to play
worse.
the rest of it
Right.
because I think, again, these airwaves, there's a responsibility.
Again, he could have left it right there.
Right there, people would have been like, oh.
Yeah. Oh, Snoop, you wild. Oh.
Right.
Ugh, ah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't have crossed the line.
Right,
It was he touched the line, but the line got crossed because here's a couple of things that happened. I think this was an Instagram Live.
Uh-huh.
There's a pre-existing condition with Gayle and Oprah, right? And it goes back. R. Kelly, we can make the argument, but if you're a man in his position who grew up in that time period when there are still people who believe that R. Kelly was railroaded, that R. Kelly is victimized by a system that is coming for black men, and R. Kelly there's that.
Yes.
Then Oprah did that Neverland thing, or she participated in some way with that, did the after thing. Promoted it, and then interviewed the guys afterwards. Guys that were on record as lying.
Yes.
That was bad. Then the Russell Simmons piece that social media came
Right.
and it went away. Oprah backed away because it was supposed to be
She was
out.
attached to a documentary, and her rap was she wasn't confident in the production company's job that they were doing, so she wanted to be hands off. She said it had nothing to do with social media.
Well, it's coincidental that the social media went in and then that went away.
Yes.
Now this.
Right.
So Oprah and Gayle are going to be forever entwined.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you want to separate Gayle as a journalist and Oprah as a media mogul, you can't. So Snoop, I think, was riding on all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So his comments were not just tied to this Kobe thing. This was like the straw that broke the camel's back. And Bill Cosby, who drugged women and was convicted of it.
Right.
So let me just say this. I'm going to put these things, and they need to be dealt with in different categories. R. Kelly is a sexual predator who preys on young girls.
Right.
This is a fact. It's been going on since before Aaliyah, I'm sure. And he deserves to be going through all of the things that he's going through, full stop. I don't play his music.
Mm-hmm.
I've made that decision since the P tape. This is like a long time ago.
Right.
I drew a line in the sand, me personally, but you know how absolute I am about a lot of things. So R. Kelly's in a whole other category.
They don't even need to mention. He don't even really need to mention.
No, let's put him over there,
Yeah.
and whatever happens, happens. He deserves whatever's happening to him. Bill Cosby arrogantly thought he could get away with doing something, which at the time he was doing it might have been not an okay thing, but people were doing.
Right.
People were Spanish flying people and roofing them and
Right.
having sex with them. And that was a power play, and Camille knew, and everybody knew.
Right.
When I was a young 20-something-year-old reporter at the Daily News, Bill Cosby name would come up, and they're like, well, Mr. Cosby is fresh. Like, everyone knew he was that dude, right?
Got it.
But it was kind of like a wink and a nod. Bill Cosby, he's fresh. You know, he might roll up on you.
Flirt with you.
Yeah, he's gonna
make
say
a
do
pass
some
at
things.
you,
Yeah. So when he got convicted, this particular case, this woman was damaged. He deserved to do it, but he played himself out too because he didn't have to be convicted. He overplayed his hand.
He did.
He didn't think he could go down in flames. Bill Cosby was arrogant. Bill Cosby. All of that. He did not have to go to jail.
And a weak defense team, too.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah,
but
so,
beyond that, though,
right.
he had a deal with the prosecutor. He didn't even have to tell on himself, which he did. But he thought they were going to honor it, and they did not. But who you trust in, Bill Cosby? Okay. Let's put him over there. He's a separate case.
Put him on a separate shelf.
And we're going to come back to Bill Cosby because I'm still trying to figure out how he's tweeting.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Russell Simmons. He's been accused by several women of rape, sexual. None of them have gone to trial.
Right.
There is no court case.
See, we don't even know enough about Russell Simmons' allegations. We only know what just came out last 2-3 years.
Right, and we know it.
We don't have
from,
that track record that you might have had for the other two.
And if we're being honest, hip hop in the 90s,
right? Yeah, was built on that.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Superhead, who? Full disclosure, I did the first book with her.
Did you?
I did. Confessions of a Video Vixen. If you read the book, this was culture.
Yes, it was.
Now, we need to have a conversation at some point about what is acceptable culture and what we deal with. But this was culture.
Right.
And I'm not giving anyone a free pass. I'm just saying we can't litigate in 2020 a 1990 environment.
Right.
In 2020.
Way of lifestyle almost, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's
and
like.
expect it to line up.
It's
and be
not
the
going to
same.
line
yeah,
up.
Yeah, it's not.
There's a more nuanced conversation to be had. Let's put Russell Simmons over there.
Okay, let's put that on. Here's another shelf. All right.
Michael Jackson, they took pictures of his PP.
Right.
We got the video. He was, distraught. He went to court. He went to trial.
He beat it.
He beat it.
Literally.
Beat it.
Right.
No, he didn't literally beat
no,
it.
What
but
I'm saying,
I
the
knew
song,
you trying to
with
put
the song,
I know,
yeah,
but you can also see
right,
because it's got a many entendres here.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, figuratively there.
He beat it.
Yeah,
the case.
The case.
Right. Showed up in his pajamas every day with a jacket on, and he walked.
And
moonwalked.
Proved that a couple of them was good. Proved a couple of them was lying. They took money. All right, so he on another shelf.
Right.
Right. So circle it back. Now you're saying Snoop.
Kobe.
Right. Okay.
Is a completely different case.
Ah, here we go. Now we get into the
Not
meat.
only did he not get convicted, the case was dismissed.
Right.
It should never be brought up again, in my opinion.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, a couple of weeks ago, somebody tried to. I was like, not on these. You will not be in my studio talking about Kobe Bryant. No.
Right.
At all. Period. I'm zero tolerant on it. We're going to let this man have his legacy the way we let everybody else who people, pedestalize.
Exonerate. And
because he's not convicted.
I
he didn't even do his time.
Right. He beat the case. Yeah.
And she can't be a victim because there was no.
That's true.
So.
Legally, you can't even use that terminology.
You can't. So
yeah.
So we can't. Why are we bringing it up? And if you didn't bring it up when he won his Oscar, if you didn't bring it up when he won his last championship, if you didn't bring it up when they had that last baby, then you shouldn't bring it up in his death when he can't defend himself, which Michael can't either, and that's some bull crap. And I hate that people do that.
Right. Okay. I'm with you.
So I think Gayle King was out of pocket for some of the questioning,
right,
and how she was pressuring Lisa Leslie, but what Snoop Dogg didn't make it right.
Right.
And what he did, which we're not going to play, was say, he called her other bitches.
Right.
There were other bitches dropped in there,
and
not just the dog head.
Some things, loosely, some things could happen to you.
No, he said, we're coming from you.
Well, I didn't want to repeat it.
He said, we're coming for you.
Yeah.
And when I heard that, I was like, that's a threat. That's the kind of threat that made Biggie, Tupac, and a host of other people not be on this earth anymore.
Right.
Because somebody like Snoop, who is an OG, who people do respect in the hood, maybe one of those knuckleheads want to make a name for themselves and come after Gayle. Immediately when I heard that, I was like, that's a death threat.
Yeah, right.
And that should be immediately dealt with. And nobody did.
Well,
who dealt with it?
Nobody. No one. Well, we don't know. We didn't see it on the surface or publicly. You know what I'm saying? And so then, now after that, Gayle did the apology. Well, not even an apology.
No, it wasn't an apology.
She explained the interview and the fact that she had no control over that clip, and it was CBS. She tried to throw CBS under the bus.
But you asked the questions.
Yeah, sure. But she felt like it was taken out of context of the full interview. And so then Twitter went even more ham, if you will.
Right.
And went at her. Or bacon.
Right.
And so now is I think Oprah this morning. Was it this morning?
Okay, let's dial it down. So Gayle, I think, did a couple of Instagram lives, which she said she'd never done before, and explained it. And the explanation to me. So for me, right, after Snoop did all of that, I'd have been like, you know what, Snoop? I've been indoctrinated with white supremacy.
Oof.
Yeah, that's
you would have went to that one first?
I would have.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry.
I didn't know better?
once I heard the threat, self-preservation is the first law of man.
Sure, sure.
That's a deep threat right there. From the perch that Snoop sits on, to me, I knew that was not going to go unchecked.
Well, I'm not going to live. I'm calling. I'm get Snoop's people on the phone. I need to talk to Snoop real quick.
I need to talk to him real quick.
Let me holler at you. Yeah, let me holler at you real quick. Hey, so what are we talking about?
Right.
What's that all about?
What is it? Because it felt like a threat.
I need to know.
I need to know. Felt like a threat.
So I can move accordingly.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But then, I would have done a preemptive strike. I'd have gone on because you got to, strategy's everything.
Sure.
I'd have been like, listen, you are absolutely right. I was completely out of pocket. I was in my journalistic mode. I forgot that I was black.
Yeah.
I forgot that my first allegiance is to black people. I am so sorry. The dog-headed bitch, too much.
Yeah.
But I understand you're in your feelings.
Yeah.
But the thing at the end where you're threatening my life, that's too much too.
It's too much.
So I'm going to apologize because I was wrong.
Now, is this in public or is this in
No,
private?
I'm going to do this publicly.
Oh.
And then I'm going to call him.
Okay.
That's what I would do.
I would call first.
Okay.
Because you got to hear the voice, right? So you hear the voice and you know you were either speaking out of emotion, talking out of turn, or if you really meant it.
I think he really meant it. And he was speaking out of turn and speaking with emotion. I think all of that's true.
But sure, we coming to get you, that could have been, he could say Black Twitter or us.
Nah.
You know what I mean? Not like I'm sending nobody to the crib.
No, I mean, I think.
And here's another thing that
if 50-something-year-old grandfather wearing his daughter's scarf wearing Snoop.
Yeah.
If we're being honest, I don't think he was threatening her life. What I'm saying is somebody could perceive it because there's a lot of stupid people out there.
There's a lot of kids out here too. So with that, I feel like they could have pivoted her and Oprah and really thrown it back and be like, oh my God, Snoop just threatened my life. And turn it back on Snoop and make Snoop look like the villain.
They don't have to cast shade.
I feel like they could have.
I'm going to tell you why. They've been white men for too long. And as it relates to black people, for them to turn it on to Snoop would require black people to be on their side.
Yeah, but we don't even play with threats, though.
We don't play with threats, but for her to say, like, that would require people to go after Snoop and say, that was wrong, shut that down, blah, 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 blah. And I'm saying that
I guarantee you that would have been possible. Easily.
How? Oprah and Gayle?
Yeah, they make the right phone calls, and somebody's like, hey, Snoop, you know what? You my man and all, but that was too much, fam. You know what I'm saying?
Who's saying that?
I could
Black Twitter. Who's saying it? Because
no, not it's bigger than Black Twitter.
So Black Twitter's not saying it. So who's saying it?
If you call the right person, I got to think about it.
Okay,
you can call the right person.
I don't think so.
Somebody senior to Snoop, who's maybe 55 instead of 54.
Who?
You got to let me think. I know.
Okay, I'm gonna give you to the
I feel like they could have did that. They could have thrown it back and then faded back into the shadows. Be like, oh my God,
no, because
he threatened us, and that's not right.
With the climate and the temperature, people were like, good. You understand? Have you been watching the comments?
No, I get it.
So them saying, I can't believe you threatened my life, and this is terrible. You know, and try to play that role with where they sit. As I'm saying, and I'm not being disrespectful. I'm saying that they have not been. You can show up to black things, but to be in the community. You can show up to West Side High and give money. You can be in different places and donate money, but they have not been black people for a long time.
And so,
because of the level of wealth and how they move, white people don't treat them like black people.
And so you could use that is all I'm saying. You make that right phone call to a person, I don't even know their name, and that person is calling Snoop is like, yo, you don't want to mess with your money, champ?
They can't mess with his money, champ. He's got
it's always somebody in charge of somebody.
No. Snoop has agency.
Everybody does an apology tour. Everybody does the apology tour.
Snoop has agency. He said what he said. There's nothing you can do about it. Take away the Martha Stewart thing. He's still going to get money because black people are going to support Snoop Dogg no matter what, and even more so.
I agree. But you saying he's bigger than doing an apology tour?
Yes.
When they come get you, they coming to get you.
Snoop, I put everything on it right now that he would not do an apology tour. Sorry. The only thing, they can't even threaten him with jail. Calvin Broadus? Oh, you can't get the hell out of here. You don't know what you're talking about.
Calvin.
You don't know what you're talking about.
I just think they could have did. So what they're doing now, I don't think it's going to work.
Okay, well, here's what they're doing now. When we come back, we're going to play what's going on right now.
Okay.
Because first of all, Snoop was completely out of pocket with the death threat. Yeah. I mean, and I do call it a death threat because anytime you say we're coming for you, there's somebody out there that is perceiving that in a certain way, and she's gotten death threats.
Right.
So it's clear.
Which has made the situation worse.
Completely worse, and it was unnecessary.
Yeah.
So when you say Gayle did something that was unnecessary, you compounded the fracture.
Yeah.
That was unnecessary. You could have stopped right there. She was out of pocket. You could even stopped at the funky dog-headed bitch. You could have stopped there.
Which is my new slur for 2020.
Okay.
Everybody's gonna be funky dog headed bitches.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm not here for you.
Bitch.
Yeah, I'm not here for that.
You know,
But
with love though.
with love, how does that work?
Hey,
you can't.
you
Two
funky
things.
dog
No,
headed bitch.
salt
Two
and
things can
fresh
be
water
true.
cannot exist in the same vessel. I'm gonna keep dropping
But I'm
scripture
gonna say it
today.
in Gayle's
What?
voice too. You know it, but you know.
866-801. I'm like,
But
I'm
you
not.
know, you were a funky dog headed bitch. You know.
I think the last 24 hours for your best friend have been pretty difficult after that interview with Lisa Leslie about Kobe. And I just wondered just how she's doing and
She is not doing well. May I say she is not? She is not doing well because she has now death threats and has to now travel with security. And she's feeling very much attacked. You know, Bill Cosby is texting from, is tweeting from jail. And she's not doing well and feels that she was put in a really terrible position because that interview had already ran.
It was over.
And in the context of the interview, everyone seemed fine, including Lisa Leslie. And it was only because somebody at the network put up that clip. And I can see how people would obviously be very upset if you thought that Gayle was just trying to press to get, an answer from Lisa Leslie. But
Yeah.
But you knew though.
Okay. Oprah Winfrey is correct. 866-801-8255. And we can do better. You know, there's a way that and I think, again, for me, Snoop crossed the line when he said, we're coming for you if you don't, if you keep this up, and it was not just a veiled threat. Let me welcome to the show, of course, Lamont King is here, and activist and I guess actress as well, Jamila T. Davis. Welcome. Your thoughts?
I have a couple of thoughts, and my viewpoint may be a little bit different. I feel like journalists should have a grand level of accountability. That's my personal opinion, right? You got to understand through the power of journalism, right, that you can, in fact, be a pen gangster, right? Or even a voice gangster, right?
Oh, I know that.
So you can say things about people and you can really harm them badly. And you're living your life and you might not even mean it. So I don't think that Gayle set out with the mindset of, I'm going to destroy Kobe. I think Kobe's reputation, I think that it was, hey, I'm going to have the next best story.
The next big interview.
So I'm going to say what I need to say or engage the way that I need to engage in order to get it. So I get it, but again, you have to be accountable. So with Snoop, I would actually say it was commendable, right? That he clapped back. But I mean, now the death threat, I don't think it was a death threat either.
Well,
but
it's not what we think it is. It's what other people think it is.
Correct.
And if OG Snoop says, if you keep this up, we coming for you, and then Harvey Weinstein, he brings in all of these things.
But I say coming for you wouldn't necessarily mean coming for you, meaning outing you and speaking out against you.
That's what you say, and that's probably what he meant. But for the knucklehead in Long Beach who idolizes Snoop and who can't stand that dog head, he done called her out of her name and already diminished her to a place where she can be now victimized. Because here's the thing with language, right? If I diminish you, we're black. We deal with it all the time. That N-word, we just talked about it. If I can diminish you and take your humanity away from you by calling you a bitch, now all bets are off. I'm not putting you in a level of respect. I can respectfully disagree with everybody in this room and not diminish your humanity.
You are right, Karen. So let me just make sure, because I always want to make sure that, I'm correct in my stance, right? I looked at it as Snoop using his voice to speak out about what he felt was injustice, right? Now, do I particularly like how he came? It seems like he was very angry. Seemed like he was very, very bothered. And a lot of times when we are bothered or angry, we say things that we don't necessarily mean.
So at 50-something, should you have grown out of that? Because here's the thing, every time when you have 40 million people who follow you, there's a great response for whom much is given, much is required. I'm dropping scripture all day.
I hear you.
All right. So you have 40 million people following you. You know the impact of you saying something. You've lived through the East Coast, West Coast debacle that took out Biggie and Tupac. You watched that happen. You watched that because you were part of Death Row. You know the power of the mouth.
Yes.
So if you're that angry, this should be a lesson for all relationships, not just this, not just public social media or whatever. Because there many times I get angry, I'll type out a tweet and I'll sit with it.
Yeah.
I won't hit send. I'll come back and usually I delete it because emotions are immature. To me, an immature person reacts to things. You're 50-something and a grandfather, and your responsibility to the 40 million people that follow you is to be a beacon. He was right up until the point, and I would even give him the dog-headed. No, it's not about being human. It's about being in the public eye long enough to know better.
But
and
if somebody attacks your good friend, right? So hold on.
She didn't attack him. She asked a question.
No, but his position,
took it as it was
is
attack.
Black men are under attack by
right,
the
but
two
I'm
of
saying
you.
all things are not equal. So even the case that he laid out was not correct because he's bringing in all of these things, including Harvey Weinstein,
Right.
and then inserting Gayle and Oprah as the culprits in taking down black men. When each case needs to be dealt with, and then 50 Cent, I think, posted a bunch of pictures of Gayle and Oprah with Harvey Weinstein, which
And
I thought,
Trump.
and Trump, which I think was clever.
Right.
So 50 actually used his platform to tell a story without saying but put together, and then with the "we're gonna come for you." I just think
it was a lot. It was a lot, right? But at the end of the day, there was a lot happening as well. And again, it doesn't make it right. It's called conflict resolution. You know, you got to figure it out. Certain times, certain shots get fired, and somebody's got to come in
and then people die. And then there's no coming back from it. And you know that better than anyone. 866-801-8255. And this is what I'm saying. Like, at some point, somebody's got to step up in that culture and say, this is the mature way that we handle conflict. Gayle was out of pocket. I just said it. I thought that she went too far, and I broke it down where I thought she was not correct.
Right.
And I said how I would handle it. But to then go to the extreme, it was very emotional. It was very immature.
It was
and
emotional.
it was dangerous because this woman has gotten death threats now.
It
Right,
was
So it
dangerous.
manifested.
However, right, Oprah and Gayle are huge, and those are people that you normally don't even clap at. Like you in your right mind, without the anxiety and the pressure and everything, feeling crazy. You do not. Who really comes for them like that, right?
I
So
do.
A handful of people.
I do.
Okay.
So
hold on.
But it's how it's done.
Yeah, not
Correct.
in that way though.
No,
Yeah,
I would never do that.
no.
I would never do it that way.
Well, I'm sure.
I don't think either of them have felt the wrath, right?
So what's the wrath feel? So this
But
our fault too.
I said that earlier.
Yeah, but that's
I said that.
That's our fault too. We give people a pass because they're rich, and this goes
Or
beyond
not even
Oprah.
that people
No,
get
no.
a pass. Okay, so you know what?
This goes beyond
It-
Oprah
it,
and Gayle.
It goes beyond
because we
Oprah.
don't hold people accountable, period, because we might like them.
We don't. But
So-
guess what? So you know what?
Unchecked.
Since we having a real conversation, I'm going to have a real conversation with you this week. I woke up on Monday morning, and one of my good friends was on the front cover of the Daily News being slandered, right, by a reporter, right, for an alleged situation that happened that it's crazy. Like, I feel like my friend has been set up, right? But however, the reporter, the pin gangster, was able to come, and now this particular person who has been helping to provide a lot of resources to our community, probably funding may get snatched, and probably many of his relationships that he established and took all these years to take, to build up, probably will never, ever, ever be restored. It's a potential. Right? From someone being a journalist and a journalist gangster that said enough is enough. He was going up for a really big RFP in the city, about to get some major money to do some community move. Now, I'm not saying he's perfect, but however, right? Something you're accusing somebody of something that they haven't been convicted for, and said it as it's the gospel, and wrote it with your pen as the gospel. Right? And you made it to go on the front cover of the newspaper the day after the Super Bowl. Right? So if the Super Bowl wasn't important enough, he made it over the Super Bowl. I start questioning. Now, I didn't come up here to do this, and I really was supposed to shut up, but it makes me start questioning the powers that be. So when I say somebody coming for a Gayle, I don't have nothing personal against you, Gayle, but I feel like all journalists should be held accountable, because when you write things, right, regardless, you're swaying an interest, and you may destroy a life. And at this particular point, it's just potentially destroying Kobe's legacy. That's a big thing at risk.
Okay. I don't disagree with that. Two things I always say, two things can be true. And I talk about this all the time. Journalism is dead. I think we're in an era of clicks and algorithms, and
Yeah,
everybody's
absolutely.
trying to have a viral moment, and it's disgusting.
But journalism really isn't dead.
No, it is dead. It's dead, and it's up to us to first of all hold it accountable. Journalism is why we have Trump. Bad journalism is why we have Trump, because they didn't hold them
Facts.
accountable. And we talk about this all the time, but this is not about journalism. I pointed out where Gayle, I felt, went left, but she has a right to ask the question. It's how you do it, right? And when you do it, timing is everything. And I think she was going for a viral moment, which will always be a problem. I listen all the time. There are people.
So is she accountable for that?
She should be accountable.
Well,
And
that's
I
the
didn't have a
thing.
problem with Snoop going after her, or even 50 going after her. It's when you cross the line. And this is where we have to have some maturity. There's a way that we have to engage. And I'm not saying you get corny or whatever. At the point that he called her the funky dog head bitch, I said he could have stopped there and been
Right.
still correct. But he kept going because I'm sure on Instagram Live, he's getting the heart emojis
Yeah.
and people giving him the thumbs up. And they're like, yeah. And he's getting egged on and the emotions are high because you can hear it was like, can I do
It
this?
was a change,
Can I
yeah.
do this? And then they were like, yeah, do it. And it's like, come on, you're 50-something. Stop it. And you got to be able to think beyond this moment. Yeah, I held her accountable. Ari Lennox, who the hell are you? Got all of these names for people. You couldn't hold Gayle's water. You don't have a right to have a commentary about Gayle King and what she's done. You haven't done anything.
Right.
And next week we won't know who you are unless somebody, And she just went through a thing where people
with
are
somebody calling her
dog. And you're going to go
yeah.
call people. Like, to me, it's a lot of noise.
But see, that's social media though, and that's what I'm saying.
But that's our responsibility to police it.
Impossible.
No, it is possible.
Social media?
You know what impossible
Because
is?
it
I
exists.
am possible. I'm possible. Yes, it's possible. It's up to us to be able to police
what's
it.
the difference between him saying a rap song or singing a rap song about how he felt? He just basically said it, and I mean, rappers all the time say whatever they feel.
Yeah,
It'll
you
come to
can't
the top of
police
their head.
music. So how
But
you
we
gonna-
should.
so how?
We don't. We do police music.
How?
When Michael said "kick me" and used the K word, they police that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said
When
we
Lil
don't.
Kim said
I said
"stack
we
chips like
don't. We don't.
No, we should.
Yeah, but we
should.
don't though.
So we should.
And social media specifically, maturity in social media cannot exist in the same space.
It can.
It's in a vacuum. It's
It can.
everybody.
No, it can.
It's everybody's
Because it's you.
unchecked opinion.
It's you.
Yeah,
Are
me.
you immature?
But let me
yeah,
ask
it's
you a question. So this was his opinion. So it was a private moment that he was having. My question:
with 40 million people?
Hold on 1 second. So if this was private, that would have been fine. Are you saying that it wasn't the fact that this was what he felt? Because clearly this was his feelings, right? This was his opinion, and this was his feelings, right?
Yes.
Okay, so now the question becomes, does he have the right to his feelings or opinion?
Absolutely.
And okay, but you're just saying he shouldn't have made it public. He shouldn't have let anybody know what he was feeling.
No one's
I
questioning
can't tell
his-
him what to do,
No.
but he should understand his level of
nobody's
influence.
listening. This is the problem.
His level of influence.
Y'all not listening.
No,
I'm
I
listening.
hear
I
you.
hear
No,
you.
you're not.
Just
No,
asking you.
because,
I hear you.
because the answer was there.
I hear you.
Up until a point.
Yeah.
But when you start threatening people's lives, you cross the line, and it's unnecessary, and it's emotional, and it's
Sure.
dangerous.
No, I agree with you. So I'm not disagreeing. I'm just looking at things from all angles. And I think that
no one said Snoop didn't have a right to say what he said.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I agree with him.
But you just feel like he should have had that in his own private
No.
moment and not with public.
Have enough maturity to say, I shouldn't say, we're going to come for you. And maybe that bitch thing, I don't need to say it. I don't need to call her a bitch to make a point.
So
Do you need to call somebody a bitch to make a point?
So you just wanted him to clean up his delivery. But the fact of the matter is, and the truth is, many of us say things in our own private time that we want to say, but I guess because when you become a celebrity or influencer, you can't really say what you feel and feel what you say and
out
all
of the
that other
overflow
kind
of the
of stuff.
heart. If it ain't in your heart, it shouldn't come out your mouth.
But what I'm saying, it was in his heart.
Right. So that says a lot
I mean,
about who he is.
That's very disciplined, though.
So we're not requiring people to be disciplined?
No, I'm not.
Is
It's
that-
not about my requirement. A lot of people are
no,
not that
no, you can't
disciplined.
why not?
80% of the people.
Why not?
So somebody's
who
coming for
knows why they
somebody
ain't?
that's close to you died of a tragic situation, and you're
Right.
angry.
Right.
You're
Yeah.
angry, first of all, because you're missing your. First of all, you're not even angry. You're hurt.
Right.
You're hurt because
'Cause
now.
usually that's what anger is.
Okay, you're hurt
Unchecked
because
pain.
this situation now makes you think about your situation. You hear today, die tomorrow. So now you grieving inside, and while you're grieving, you hear this, right? So once you hearing this, and this is why I said, like, okay, the Snoop might have done something, but let's understand his state. He was going through something.
He was wrong at the end. He went too far, and Gayle is now under death threats, which should never happen for asking questions.
So how do we correct it?
We're
Can
gonna
he
come
correct
back.
it?
Nah, we probably can't. I'm gonna need y'all to answer this question for me
What's
when
the
we come
question?
back. We keep talking about where black people need to be and this and this and that. If we don't get disciplined, if we don't learn how to be civil towards one another, if we don't start looking at one another as brothers and sisters, even when we're out of pocket, if we don't learn how to check one another with respect and dignity, we're going to be right back here 15 years from now talking the same stuff because the problem is here.
What's the question?
There's no question.
Oh, I thought
That's
the
my
question was
answer.
going to be, how
No.
did Bill get that phone? I thought that's what the question.
That's another question,
How
which
is he
we're going to get
tweeting?
to. And
Oh, okay.
I'm going to know.
I thought that was the
I want to
question.
know how you get vagina scent into a candle and into perfume. But we'll get to that. Yeah, we'll get to that. Really? Really, Lamont? Huh? You don't like that smell?
I mean,
Huh? All right, when we come back, we're going to ask the questions and we're going to get the answers. I promise to take calls. Jamila T. Davis is here. Mr. Lamont King pretending like he don't like pussy.
I mean,
we'll be
not-
back.
Whoa.
We'll be back.